Come have a seat in your chair. You want to sit about mid-chair, just forward enough that your feet can touch the floor, but also away from the back of the chair so your spine can lift up nice and tall. Today we're going to focus on kind of helping the body's lymphatic system get moving maybe a little bit more efficiently than it has. So I know in my area of the world, we're getting a lot of smoke from the fires around us. And that can really kind of build up in the body. We don't realize as we're breathing that we're not actually getting in the amount of oxygen we're used to. And we'll breathe in also some of that smoke and soot. And that's a lot of toxins in the body. And the toxins are handled by our lymphatic system. And that system is an interesting one, as it typically doesn't move very much unless we're moving. And it responds really well to sort of the contraction and release of muscles, this sort of pumping action. So there's a lot in yoga that is actually works really well to keep our lymphatic system functioning and moving. So we're going to do a few of those practices today. Starting here with the feet flat on the floor, pointing the toes straight forward. You can lift and spread your toes a few times. Just allowing the feet to find their way onto the ground, to feel the firm surface of the floor below you. And set your shoulders gently onto your back, sitting up nice and tall, letting your hands rest into your lap. And begin simply by noticing your breath. At first, try not to alter your breath at all. Just come to notice yourself breathing here. Continue to let the shoulders soften, open the heart. And now gently starting to establish a yogic breath, a little bit of a deeper belly breath. As you inhale, you're going to guide your breath down, allowing your belly to expand. And then as you exhale, gently contract your belly back into the body, helping to express the air out. And right away, this is creating that little bit of pumping motion that we were talking about for the lymphatic system. So inhale, fill the belly up, let it expand. And then exhale, gently contract that belly back in, helping to empty the air out. Soften through the throat, let the breath be quite quiet. This is your breath of practice, this yogic breath. So at any point you start to notice yourself drifting off, feeling a little distracted, or maybe short of breath or straining to breathe, return to this breath. Maintaining now this belly breath, let's gently start by turning the head towards the right. Then bringing the head back into center, and we'll turn it towards the left. And then bringing the head back into center and towards the right. Bringing the head to center and turn towards the left. One more time, let's come into center and turn the head towards the right. And then gently bring the head back into center and turn towards the left. Beautiful. Bring your head now back into center. Again, ensuring that you're sitting up as tall as you can through the spine. We'll allow the head to tilt gently towards the right. Watch those shoulders. Make sure the shoulders stay level as the head tilts to the right. The left arm might hang down beside you to add a little bit of a stretch. And some of you might take that right arm up and over and rest it on the left ear just to add a little bit of weight to the head. So try not to pull or push on the head here at all. You're just letting the hand rest there. So be mindful of your spine and your neck. If that added weight or angle is not appropriate for you, then please release it. Maybe work instead to sit up a little bit taller to lengthen the spine. Let's release the arms back into the lap. Gently bring the head back up to center. And then tilt the head over to the left. So letting the left ear come a little closer to the left shoulder. Letting that right arm maybe hang down beside you. And again, for some of you, you might take that left hand up and over and rest it on the right ear. All the while maintaining that nice deep yogic breath. Beautiful. Let's bring the hands back into the lap, sitting up nice and tall. Give the toes another little wiggle, plant those feet onto the floor. Letting the hands come forward, let's gently slide the rib cage from side to side. So as the rib cage goes to one side, let your head start to tilt to the opposite side. So we'll do a little bit of a tick-tock motion here with the head and the rib cage. This doesn't have to be very big or very fast. We're just starting to create a little bit of motion in the spine. We're freeing up some of the muscles around the spine, around the rib cage, helping to open up our breathing. Again, I'm starting to stimulate that lymphatic system. Get those little garbage truck workers of the body moving. Good. Let's bring the rib cage back into center, sitting up again nice and tall. This time as you inhale, draw your belly forward, wrap those shoulders back, lift the chest up and look up. As you exhale, gently round the chin and hug the belly in and curve the spine, looking towards your belly. Inhale, belly forward, lift the chin, lift the gaze, look up. Exhale, curling down and in. Moving through our cat-cow poses here. Inhaling, arcing the back. Exhaling to round the spine. And again, this can be as little or as big as your spine will allow. Moving in sync with your breath. Now let's add the side-to-side motion as we start to circle the rib cage around over top of the hips. So you have a little side motion, then you tuck in rounding, and then go to the other side and lift up and arc. Circling this rib cage. Soften through the shoulders, neck, and head. So it feels a little fluid as we move here. Let's try circling the other way. Really nice. Coming back into center now, sitting up tall again, lifting through the chest. We'll bring the hands together, interlace the fingers, and gently press the palms forward. Just a gentle little stretch there. Maybe you start to lift the arms a little higher up overhead. Maybe not. Maybe keep them a little lower down. That's okay. We're really focusing here on getting as much length through the arms as you can without letting those shoulders lift up too high. Pressing into the feet. Take a few breaths here. We're helping to release the blood flow from the arms. Let it come back down into the body. Then turning the palms to face each other, float those hands down in front of the chest into Anjali Mudra, in front of the heart. And then we're going to take the first 3 fingers of each hand and bring them to the center of the chest, to the sternum. So there's a bony plate here at the top center of your chest. It's where your collarbones meet, right there. We're going to start to tap right there. So you could tap with one hand. If it's easier, you could tap with both hands. If you find tapping with the fingers painful at all or awkward, you can also make a fist and tap with a fist. And you'll notice that I am tapping firmly enough to have my voice vibrate a little bit. So it's a pretty firm tap. Keep tapping there. As what we're doing is we're starting to stimulate the blood flow here, just underneath the sternum, where there's a really important gland for helping us stay healthy. It's an important gland for our immune system and an important part of our lymphatic system. So again, we're just starting to get the blood flowing here, stimulating as we build up that movement in our lymphatic system. So good firm taps, keep going there. This is really good to do first thing in the morning. Helps to open up the lungs, get that oxygen moving. Good. All right, from the sternum now, you're going to take those same 3 fingers, draw them across your collarbone. So find your collarbones and draw them out across the collarbones. And then just at the end of the collarbones, kind of before you get to your shoulders, but just at the end, if you draw down just an inch or so, you'll find a little divot there. Might be kind of tender, as there's some lymph nodes that sit around this area. And so if they're a bit backed up, it could be a little tender in there. So we're going to stimulate those. So again, you could tap with your fingers. You could tap with fists. If it's easier, you might cross your arms and tap with the arms crossed instead. And really what we're doing with the tapping is creating vibration. And it's that vibration that is helping to release some stagnation, some buildup, excuse me, open up those lungs and get that lymphatic system moving. Keep that breath flowing as you tap. Good job. Really good. Okay, so now from here, you're going to take your hands down to the sides of your rib cage. So ideally here, I like to make fists, tuck your thumbs in, and you're sort of lifting up as high as you can underneath your armpits. Now, sometimes shoulders will not allow us to do this, and that's okay. Your hands might sit down a little bit lower. That's fine. That will still create a vibration as you start to tap. It might not be quite as strong a vibration, but that's fine. There is a vibration there which will help to get things moving. So again, you're just using your fists here to start to tap the sides of the rib cage. Stimulate those glands that are sitting there, as well as the lymph nodes that are sitting there. Good, keep that breath moving. You might already start to notice your sinuses opening up, or it feels a little easier to take deeper breaths. This is good, this is getting those lungs open. Little bit more tapping there, you've got it. Then we're going to let those fists slide down to the sides of the hips. And you can start to tap there at the sides of the hips. Be gentle here, especially if you have any hip soreness or injury. You can even use the palms of the hands instead if that feels better. But a little firm vibration there in the hips. There is some lymph nodes that sit in the hips. So we're helping to stimulate those, get those working. Good job. Then you're going to take your hands now, bring them down the legs to the knees. The knees are where the last lymph nodes in the body sit. And we're actually just going to gently rub the knees here. So we don't need to bang them at all. But a little bit of rubbing will help stimulate the lymphs there. Good. Take some deep breaths here. Beautiful. From the knees now, you can warm up the top of the thighs, just rubbing up and down from hips to knees. You can rub the belly, warm up the belly. Take your hands around to the back, if it's available to you, and just gently rub there around the low back or around the kidneys. Make this really gentle, warming, soothing motion. Beautiful. Then rest your hands at your sides. Turn the palms forward, draw the shoulders back. We'll come into our Tadasana. You might feel a bit of tingling in the hands. That's good. That's some blood flowing. Deep in the breath here. Beautiful. On your inhale, sweep the arms now straight forward. So they're about level with your shoulders. Turn your palms towards the ground. Curling the fingers now over the thumbs. As you exhale, pull your elbows back. Take an inhale breath and press those palms forward. As you exhale out the nose, pull the elbows back. Again, inhale, press the palms forward. Exhale, pull the elbows back. Good. We're going to speed this up a little bit so the exhales are strong and fast. Inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, exhaling. Good. So you might exhale through your mouth, or you might exhale through your nose. Good. I'm going to encourage you to exhale through your nose if possible. So you can always grab a Kleenex if you need. That's going to help clean out those passageways of the sinuses for our breathing. Let's go a little bit faster now. Nice strong breaths. Good. 3 more. Last one. Inhale, press those palms forward. Big, big, big breath in. Slow exhale as you curl the fingers over the thumbs and gently pull the elbows back, nice and slow. Inhale, press those palms forward, fill up. Exhale, curl fingers over the thumbs, pull the elbows back. Good. Inhale, last one, press those palms forward. And then pull the elbows back. Very nice. Beautiful. We're going to keep this sort of breathing going a little bit more. We're going to add in a twist. So on your inhale breath, you're going to take your left hand and reach it out to the right as far as you can. Then as you exhale, curl the fingers over the thumbs and do that nice strong pull back. This time, inhale, right arm over to the left, reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, pull that elbow back. Let's keep going like this. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose. Inhaling, exhaling. Good. Make those exhales nice and strong. Keep going. Three more. Last one each side. Inhale, press both palms forward. Big, 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 big breath in. Slow breath out as you pull the elbows back. Inhale, big breath in. Exhale, pull those elbows back. Very nice. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Release the arms again to your side. Turn those palms forward. Return to your seated Tadasana. And let's start marching the legs in place here. Again, we're creating a bit of pumping action in the legs. So we're not worried too much here about the marching as we are thinking about the leg lifting up into the belly. We're thinking about that sort of hugging in action. Now watch the tendency for the upper body to kind of want to crouch down. Keep your upper body nice and lifted and focus on the work of the legs. And maybe for you today, the legs don't lift very high off the floor. They might lift just a little. That's okay. It's still creating a bit of compression in those hips. This is good. This is getting that lymph node moving in the hips or sort of compressing and releasing in the hips. Good. Nice. Next time both feet are on the floor, rest them there. Let's extend the right leg forward now and go ahead and point and flex the right foot a few times. Good. Flexing the right foot back. Keep extending through that right heel, sitting up tall. Some of you might keep your right leg forward. So especially if you have any concerns for the hips or you've had hip surgery recently, you'll keep your right leg forward. Some of you might open the right leg a little bit out towards the right, keeping the right heel on the floor and those toes flexing back. Wherever you are, place your right hand on your right thigh, turn your chest towards the left, and then slowly slide your right hand down the right leg, bring into just a little bit of a forward fold with a bit of a twist. That's an option. Now, of course, your leg could be straight forward. Beautiful breathing here. Some of you might take your left arm out and up, looking towards the left. Very nice. Slowly inhale to rise back up into center. Place that right foot on the floor and let's extend the left leg out. Left heel's on the ground as we just gently start by pointing and flexing the left foot a few times. This is a simple act of compression and release for the leg. So this is a great thing to do if you're watching TV or sitting for a little while, to just extend one leg at a time and point and flex the foot. That will help the pumping of the calf, keeping the blood flowing, and again, stimulating the lymph nodes in the knee. Good. Let's go ahead and flex the left foot back now. Again, you can keep your left leg straight, or you might open it out to the left. Place your left hand on your left leg. Bring your right hand up to your chest. And now turn the chest towards the right, just a little bit. Sliding the left hand down the left leg as you look off towards your right. Breathing here. And you might extend that right arm up. Keep that breath moving. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up into center, stepping that left foot in. Feet about hip distance apart. Let's bring the palms again together in front of the heart. Interlace those fingers and press the palms out. Again, you're welcome to keep the arms straight out in front of you, especially if you have any concern for those shoulders. Some of you might start to lift the arms up overhead, but remember, keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Pressing now into both feet. Feel the strength coming up the legs. Feel the length go right up into the arms. Some of you, if you have any concerns for knees, hips, or low back, you're going to stay here like this. If the knees, hips, and low back are feeling okay today, on your next inhale breath, you're going to lift straight up and out of the chair. Beautiful. As you exhale, bend those knees and sit back and down. Take your time. Good. Inhale, press into those feet, rise up. Exhale, bend those knees, keep them hip distance apart as you sit back and down. Beautiful. Inhale, rise up. Good job, everybody. This time as you exhale, sit back and pause halfway. So don't come all the way down, but as low as you comfortably can. So not putting too much pressure on the knees, but enough that there's some work in those legs. Then let's release the arms to the sides. And again, we'll create a bit of pumping action here. Keep the legs as they are. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the arms down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, release them down. Big breath in. Let it go. Ha! Good. Ha! Ha! Two more. Ha! Last one. Ha! Then from here, inhale, rise up, reach up, stretch up, look up. Exhale, let those arms go. Ha! Good. Again, inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, let them go. Ha! Inhale, arms up. And let them go. Ha! Good job. Shake the arms out. If you're standing or seated, let's take the legs as wide as you can comfortably bring them. Not so wide you feel strained. You still want to feel pretty easy in the hips. And then let's start by sliding the hips from side to side. If you're sitting in the chair, it's a little bit more of a tick-tock motion of the upper body. We want to actually keep the hips down on the chair, but this tick-tock motion will bring some movement into the hips. Good. Then some of you might take this into a circle. Again, if you're sitting in the chair, keep the upper body nice and straight as you circle it over the hips. Some of you might start to move the hips in more of a figure 8 motion. If you're sitting in the chair, stay with that circle. If you're circling, reverse the direction. If you're doing figure 8, stay with the same direction you're doing just for a little bit longer. Then reverse it, go back the other way. Good. Let's bring those hips back into center. Walk the feet in so they're directly below the hips. Turn the palms forward, shoulders back. standing tall here, sitting tall. Beautiful. So now we're going to really do some great work for the lymphatic system. So if you're standing, I'm going to encourage you to take a little bit wider stance than you normally do. This will help you feel really steady. And we're going to start by pumping the knees. So if I turn sideways, you'll notice here, this is just a little pump, a little of the knees. I'm not bending and straightening in a really dramatic way. It's very, very small. And it's more like a pulse. I like to think of it as like just a very subtle pulse in the knees. If you're sitting in the chair, you're going to create this pulse more with the heels. So you just gently, I'm going to turn sideways again so you can see, but sort of pulsing the heels on and off the floor. This does not have to be very hard. We're not slamming the heels down. It's just a very soft pulse. However you are, whether you're standing or sitting, with that pulse, try to soften the rest of the body. Let the rest of the body become really passive, almost like a rag doll, just kind of hanging out there. And as you pulse, you'll notice that bounce start to travel up the body. Now, if you're sitting in the chair as you pulse your heels, to kind of bypass sitting at the hips, you may need to pulse your shoulders as well. It's good for the coordination. They don't have to match in their pulse, but it's the same sort of motion. It's a quick little motion in the shoulders. Good. Some of you might take your arms overhead. This will help, again, reverse that blood flow out of the arms. Still pulsing. And the hands are very passive here. They're just dangling at the top of the arms, and they bounce because of the pulse of the knees. I'm not making my hands move. This is happening because of the movement of the knees, or if you're sitting, it's happening because of the movement of the shoulders and the heels. Good. Now this is a fair bit of work. So at any point, if you feel kind of tired, you can have a break and then come back in and join us. We're going to do this for a little bit to really help stimulate that lymphatic system. So if you've noticed yourself feeling kind of sluggish, if you're in the same area of the world as I am, where there's a lot of fires, granted, there's a lot of fires all over the world right now, but if you're finding that smoke is just really aggravating you, this work will be very helpful to kind of clean that out. If you're standing now, you could add in a little extra bounce with the heels. So as you pulse your knees, you might lift your heels once in a while and then drop them down, kind of like an added wave through the body. Good. Keep that breath moving. Good job. Okay, we can let the arms down, but keep the pulsing going. Good work, everybody. Good. We're going to gently slow that pulsing down, ever so gently, not a subtle stop, just a slowing down. As you come to stand or sit in a Tadasana, palms forward, close the eyes. And just notice what you're noticing. Nice. Open the eyes now. If you're standing, you're going to take your chair to the front of your mat. Turn the seat of the chair to face you. If you're sitting, you're going to sit halfway forward on the chair. Make sure your feet are flat on the floor. And we'll all come back into our Tadasana. Palms forward, shoulders back. From here on your inhale, sweep those arms forward and up as high as you can. And then gently hinge at your hips and fold down. Your hands might come to your knees or to the chair. Then inhale, straighten those arms, lift the gaze, look forward. Take your exhale now to bend your elbows and fold in. Inhale, straighten the arms, lift the gaze, look forward. Exhale, bend those elbows and fold in. Beautiful. Inhale, straighten the arms, lift the gaze, look forward. And now as you exhale, come into your downward facing dog. So if you're standing, walk your feet away from the chair, plant those heels, and as you hold onto the chair, send the hips back over the heels. If you're sitting in the chair, your feet are hip distance apart. Bring your palms together, interlace your fingers and press those palms forward, lifting the arms up, softening those shoulders. This will be your downward facing dog. Good. Now, of course, you're welcome to hold your downward dog here, as I'm going to give us some options again to create some of that's a little bit of a pumping action or pulsing in the body. So we're going to start by putting weight in the left foot, lifting the right foot off the floor, crossing it in front of the left foot, and touching the right big toe down on the outside of the left foot. Then place the right foot back to where it came from. Try to hold your downward dog shape as best you can, just lifting the foot. Now lifting the left foot, crossing it over, touching the left big toe down on the outside of the right foot, and then placing the left foot back where it came from. Let's do that again. So if you're sitting in the chair, lift the right foot, cross it over the left foot, touch it down, and then lift it back up and place it where it came from. Then lifting the left foot up, cross it over the right foot, touch the left toe down, and then lift it up and place it back where it came from. So you could stay here working with this lifted foot. We can also add on. So as you lift your right foot up, bring your right knee as close to your chin as you can without moving the body, just the leg. Then cross the right foot over, touch it down. Again, lift the knee up as high as you can, then place the right foot back where it came from. Same with the left side. If you're adding on here, you're going to lift that left knee high up into the belly, cross the left foot over, gently touch the big toe down, lift that left knee back up, and place the left foot back down. Let's keep going like this from side to side, taking the option that works best for you. Let's do one more on each side. Good job. Placing both feet back on the floor, returning to your downward facing dog as best you can. Breathing here. Now, if you're comfortable coming onto your knees, you can use the chair to help you lower yourself down onto your knees. Take your knees wide apart, bring your big toes to touch, and sink the hips towards the heels, planting the hands onto the floor, letting the forehead come down. Coming into a child's pose. Now, if you're comfortable coming to the floor, but not comfortable coming onto your knees, that's fine. Make your way down in whatever way you like, and then start to bring yourself onto your back instead. Bringing your knees wide, holding them in towards the armpits. If you would prefer to come to your chair or to stay in your chair, that's fine too. It's a great option. If you're in your chair, you're going to take your legs wide apart. Fold down between the legs, maybe letting your elbows rest on your thighs, maybe letting your hands come to your ankles or to the floor. This is also a good place for some blocks. So wherever you are, you're in a child's pose, a variation of compression for the belly. Let your breath soften just a little. And feel a subtle surrender here in the body. A feeling of settling into the shape that you're in. Beautiful. If you're on the floor, either way, if you're on the floor, make your way up to sit up on your mat. If you're in the chair, gently roll up and come to sit up in your chair. Bring your feet back to hip distance apart. Good. So if you're sitting on the floor, you have a couple options. You could have your legs straight out, or you can cross your legs. or simply place one foot in front of the other. If you're sitting in the chair, make sure your feet are flat on the floor and you're able to sit up tall. Good. From here, we're going to work on a little bit of pranayama called Kapalabhati breath. So we did work on this last week, and we're going to build on that today. So this breath is focused particularly on the exhale. And we've done kind of some introductory versions of it already in practice, so we're going to build on those. So just like our yogic breath, when you exhale, you contract the belly into the body. The important part here, though, is the moment you're done your exhale, soften the belly. Just let it go. That will create a natural inhale breath. So you do not need to require the inhale or force the inhale to happen. It will happen on its own if you soften and relax the belly. Then you gently contract the belly back in, creating that exhale breath, and then soften. So the Kapalabhati really is about contracting, softening, contracting, softening. So again, we've got that contraction release that we're looking for to help stimulate the lymphatic system. This breath is also really good for clearing out the lungs and clearing out the head as well. So let's start first nice and slow by bringing the first finger of your right hand out in front of you, pointing that first finger straight up. You're going to imagine there's a little flame on the top of this finger. And when you pull your belly in, you're going to do it quite quickly, pulling the belly in and pressing the air out strong to imagine that you're blowing out a flame on the tip of the finger. Just like that. So we're going to do it first from the mouth. So I'm contracting, softening, contracting, softening. Join me as you're ready. 3, 2, 1. Empty. Hold that belly in. Pull it in. Empty out. Soften the belly. Breathe in through the nose. Big full breath in all the way into the top. Gently release the breath out the nose. All the way to the bottom. Very nice. We're going to do another round. You're welcome to continue to use your finger as a little imaginary candle if you found that helpful, or you can release your hand down. Again, you're also welcome to breathe out the mouth. So I think especially if you have any heart concerns, you're going to take the exhale out the mouth. Otherwise, I'm going to encourage you now to move the exhale to the nose. So again, a box of Kleenex close by is helpful, but we're going to clean out those sinuses and we're going to help to pump that breath out through the nose. Same breath though here. So take a gentle inhale, and then we begin by pulling the belly back. Contract, soften, contract, soften. Keep going like that. Three, 2, 1. Empty out, pull that belly in, pull it in, empty all the way out. Slow breathe in through the nose, soften the belly. All the way to the top, fill up. Pause full, then slow, long breath out the nose. Just let it go. How are we feeling? Let's try one more round. Again, you can take the option that's working for you. Maybe you're using your mouth, maybe you're using your nose, maybe you have that little imaginary candle. That all works. So we breathe in gently. Last round, a little bit faster if it works for you. Adjust the speed if you need. Three, 2, 1. Empty out. Pull the belly in all the way out. Very good. Now breathe in through the nose, soft belly. fill up right to the top. Good. Breathe out the nose, slow breath out. Release the effort of breathing. Let a natural breath settle back in. Close the eyes for a moment. Simply breathe and feel. If you're sitting on the floor and you have your legs crossed, I'm going to encourage you now to bring your legs straight out in front, gently flexing the toes so the toes are pointing towards the ceiling and keeping a little space between the feet. If you're sitting in the chair, if both feet are still on the floor, get a little bit of space between the feet. From here, let's all take the arms now as high as you comfortably can, breathing in. As you exhale, you're going to reach towards those toes and fold forward, letting the hands fall along the legs. Inhale, slide the hands up the legs, past the belly, past the chest towards the sky. And then exhale, folding forward, reaching forward. Good, let's do a few more. Inhale, sweeping up, big breath in. Exhale, folding down. Let this motion be graceful and fluid, much like a wave cresting down over the legs. Good job. Two more like this. Last one. Reach up and then gently fold forward. Now stay in your forward fold here for a moment. If you're on the floor, your hands could come down on either side of your legs, keeping the toes flexed back. If you're sitting in the chair, press your feet into the chair and take a hold of the sides of the back of your chair with your hands in your forward fold. Lift the chest up slightly and guide the chest forward just a little bit more as we increase the length coming from the back of the body. Soften those shoulders, soften the gaze. Beautiful. Inhale. Now slowly come all the way up to seated, nice and tall. Keep the legs as they are. Let's take the arms forward now. Interlace those fingers and point the index fingers straight out in front. As you take an inhale breath, you're going to keep the arms level with the shoulders, but start to lean back as far back as you comfortably can. Be mindful of the tailbone and the spine. Try not to collapse in the back, engage the belly, keep the chest lifted. Then as you exhale, reach those arms forward, folding over the legs, keeping the arms lifted. Inhale, sliding back, gently leaning back. Exhale, coming forward. So I like to imagine here that I'm a lumberjack holding onto one side of a big saw, and there's another lumberjack on the other side, and we're sawing back and forth. Moving with your breathing. Inhale to lean back. Exhale to come forward. Good job. Next time as you exhale, come forward. Sweep those arms to the right. Keep them straight. Taking your inhale to come through center, lean back, sweeping the arms to the left. Exhaling as you bring the arms out in front of the feet, coming to the right. Inhaling, leaning back, straight spine as you go to the left. Keep those arms as straight as you can here. I like to imagine that I'm stirring a really big pot. So you can imagine you're holding onto a wooden spoon and you have this really big pot in your lap and you're stirring the edges of the pot. Let's try switching directions. Stir the other way. Keep your breath moving. Good work. One more big circle here. Beautiful. Coming back up to center, sitting tall, letting the arms go to your sides. Beautiful. If you're sitting on the floor, I'll give you an option. You can bend your right knee, place your right foot on the floor if that feels okay for you. You still want to keep your legs in line with the hips, but you might place your right foot on the floor. Wherever you are now, you're going to take your left hand and bring it to the outside of the right thigh. Sweep that right arm all the way up overhead and around behind you, placing the right fingertips on the floor or to hold on to the back of your chair. Starting to turn your upper body now to look towards your right. Soften what can soften here. Try even closing the eyes. Beautiful. On your inhale, unwind. If you have your right knee bent, if you're on the floor, straighten the right leg out and switch sides. Bring the left foot down. There's still space here between the feet. Then let's all take the right hand across to the left thigh. That left arm, let's try sweeping it out in front, all the way up overhead and around behind. Placing the left fingertips on the floor or holding onto the back of your chair. Gently twisting to look off towards your left. Smooth out the breath. Good. On your inhale, unwind. Very nice. Straightening the legs out in front if you're on the floor. If you're on the floor, I'll have you bend your knees now and start to lower yourself down onto your back. If you're sitting in the chair, stay seated where you are in the chair. And then for those on the floor, you're going to lift your legs. I suggest one at a time, so then it's easier on the low back. And you're going to extend the legs up towards the ceiling. If you're sitting in the chair, just let the legs extend a little bit out in front of you. You can keep your heels on the floor. Then from here, let's all extend the arms up. So if you're on the floor, your arms are going to extend straight up from the chest. If you're sitting in the chair, the arms will go overhead, if that feels okay for your shoulders. Soften your elbows, soften your knees, and just start to shake the feet and the hands. You want to start to create a real good, vigorous shake in the feet and the hands. Again, this is fantastic for our lymphatic system. Just creating that same sort of vibration. This is a final little shake out of that lymphatic system, getting everything back into the organs where it can process what it needs to process, clean out the body. That's what our organs are for. Good. Keep shaking, you got it. Good, vigorous shake. Good job. Then if you're lying on the ground, bend your knees, curl them into your chest, give your legs a hug. If you're sitting in the chair, let your arms come down. You might fold forward a little bit, but just let yourself sit for a moment. For those on the floor, gently place your feet down onto the ground. Let's take a moment, bring our hands onto our bellies. If you're in the chair, you might scoot to the back of the chair. With the hands on the belly, feel how the belly moves as you breathe. Let everything gently settle. So you can imagine this much like a snow globe. When you kind of move the snow globe around, you disturb the snow on the ground and everything gets tossed up. So now we're letting all of that tossed up snow gently settle back down. Well, from here, as you're starting to feel more settled, you can now bring yourself into Savasana. It's our final resting posture. If you're sitting in the chair, sit all the way to the back of the chair. You might use some blocks underneath your feet, maybe a pillow in your lap to rest your arms on. If you're lying on the floor, you can extend your legs out onto the ground. If that's a little aggravating for the low back, you can keep your knees bent or maybe put a pillow or a rolled blanket underneath your knees. For those on the floor, I'm going to encourage you to slide your shoulder blades a bit further under your back for support, and then release the arms out, turning the palms up. If you're in the chair, try to rest your arms maybe on a pillow. Taking some of the activity out of the shoulders. If you wear glasses, this is a good time to remove your glasses, give your face a little bit of a rest. Gently closing the eyes now. Let the eyelids grow heavy over the eyes. Feel the eyes sink back into their socket. That same sort of release that you're receiving in the eyes, let it wash over the face. Feel a sense of release in the throat. Feel some release through the shoulder joints, the elbows, the wrists, and the joints of the fingers. Feel release in the hips, in the knees, ankles, and the joints of the toes. Feel a release through the whole length of your spine. Right from the tailbone on up to the very tip top of the spine that supports the head. Feel all the vertebrae of your spine release and let go. Allow your breath now to settle back into a very natural, easy breath. Come to rest here in Savasana. All bring us back out when it's time to close the practice. Keeping your body still. Feel the motion of breath as it moves itself in and out of your body. Notice the stillness, the quiet. And gently starting to move your body again in little ways. Maybe you wiggle a finger or two. Maybe you wiggle a toe. Maybe you rock your head from side to side. If you're lying on the floor, curl your knees gently up into the belly and roll yourself over onto your side. Take your time and just come to lay on your side for a few moments. There's no rush. If you're sitting in the chair, you're going to move yourself forward in the chair. So remove any props you might be using. And again, take your time, be gentle as you scoot yourself forward to sit up tall in your chair. For those lying on the ground, you can then begin to press yourself away from the ground and come to sit up on the mat. Or if you prefer, you can return to sit in your chair. Once you've brought yourself to your seat, close your eyes again. Settle right back in to that same quiet and still space that you were in just a moment ago. Hold your hands together in front of your heart. Lift the heart up towards the fingertips, and as you exhale, gently bow your head in towards your heart, surrendering the mind towards the deeper wisdom of the heart that is peaceful, steady, calm. Thank you all so much for continuing to come and to practice yoga together. Namaste.